After months and months of depressing news and coverages on war, recession, inflation, and bad politics, we all witnessed the amazing sight of Japanese striker Asano Takuma streaking past German defenses at the FIFA World Cup to score a stunning goal. Who cared if the goal was scored at the Khalifa International Stadium and not a venue in England or Germany? The game was all that mattered, and it was the good old story of underdogs triumphing and the favourites biting the dust. All talk of why the World Cup had been given to Qatar was forgotten in that moment. The only thing that mattered was that an unbelievable game of football had given billions across the globe an occasion to celebrate, smile, and laugh and make merry. That is the essence of the human spirit, and not a daily dosage of woke causes, politics, or vested interests, and this crisis or that crisis. It was as if, in the space of one day, in the heat of a sporting battle on the field, the narrative had changed to something new. Let's talk about what really connects with people at large and what has been imposed on us so far. But before I do that, a warm welcome to all viewers of the CAA show. CAA, as all of you know, is Conversations and Analysis, and my name is Juggi Bhasin. To watch our show, press the big red subscriber button on your screen, and subscription is of course completely free. The narrative of what runs in the world, or what is told to us, and what should be important to the world, with all its sights and sounds, are even today, by and large, controlled by the West. Be it the war in Ukraine or the recession in Europe, a narrative is spun out that the world must take note of it, and it should matter also to the rest of the world. Which means if Europe is facing an energy crisis, then the rest of the world should also suffer because of Russian intransigence. It should limit its intake of Russian oil. The concerns of the Western world should also be the concerns of the rest of the world. Setting the agenda is the name of the game. And to help set the agenda, the tired old woke causes are brought into operation. Be it discrimination against blacks, then the rest of the world must take the knee. If gay and transgender is the cause célèbre in the West, then the rest of the world should follow suit. If investment is made in renewable energy, then by decree, rest of the world should do the same. If the West buttonholes on a certain amount of carbon footprint to be allowed, then rest of the world should frame laws for the same. In a nutshell, the West sets the agenda of political, social, and economic matters. Its powerful media, trans corporations broadcast it, and the rest of the world is expected to fall in line. If they don't, then a villain is made of the dissenters. And a villain in the proceedings is a must, because otherwise how else would the fight between right and wrong, good and bad be appreciated and sustained? So, after saturating the world with talk and coverages of the war in Ukraine, the spiraling demand and costs of energy, the sanctions regime, etc., the architects of this narrative wanted a new villain on the world scene. It was necessary to revive the interest because the people had had enough of their one-sided narratives on the war and the energy crisis. So more than 10 years after awarding the FIFA World Cup to Qatar, the interlocutors of the woke world narrative woke up and saw Qatar as the new villain on the block, and its narrative of the exploitation of migrant labor, intolerance of gay rights, a drinking ban, etc. The question, of course, to be asked was everyone sleeping for 10 years? That suddenly on the eve of the World Cup, days to go before the inauguration, the Western press became saturated with fire and brimstone stories against Qatar? Now, I hold no brief for Qatar, and in one sense, the charges flung against them are all true. But by the same token, which country in the world today is free of taint? Is the Western world purged of all sins of commission and omission? And then it took 2 games in the World Cup to change the narrative completely. The way Saudi Arabia humiliated Argentina and then Japan ripped through Germany brought into highlights the truth. And what is the truth? The truth is that the game matters and not the politics of it. People want to see the real stuff, not the manufactured stuff. I mean, even though it's early days in the World Cup, something tells me the hegemony of the Western world over the game of football could be coming to an end. Asia and Africa are on the rise. And probably it served the Western world right. So obsessed are they with artificial woke narratives that they have forgotten the joy and thrill of the game. And if someone says all this does not affect morale and motivation of the team, then they are all living in La La Land. And so on this note, I come to the end of this episode of the CAA show. I hope you really enjoyed this particular episode. If you like our show, do subscribe to us. And on this note, it's goodbye and cheers from my end.